Hello and welcome back to the Pop Tournaments podcast. In Pop Tournaments, we take a category of pop culture and let you, the fans, vote on matchups in a single elimination tournament format to determine an ultimate champion. We are here to discuss those results and the upcoming matchups. It is October 12th, 2020, Monday again. I'm Jake Wicker. With me is Ryan Barrett.
What's happening, everybody?
Jennifer Schmidt.
Hi, friends.
Ryan, I almost called you Rebecca because we're using her Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I've known you for 15 years, it's still almost slipped out.
Hopefully the Zoom police will take mercy on us. I know a few of the Zoom corporate people are in our fan base, so...
Yeah, we'll see about that. Today's episode, we are coming to you from a honey factory, but it's one of those weird honey factories where they only make the little individual servings and you don't actually get enough for your chicken nuggets. So happy to be recording here today. It's Monday again. How was your guys' weekend? Ryan, what was happening this weekend?
It was pretty chill. I watched a lot of football as usual on Sunday. I watched Wicker Man.
Oh,
which
I thought I saw something in my window.
Revisiting it, I feel like it was close. I mean, in the horror pantheon, I feel like it should have been closer between that and Get Out. But I understand. I know that,
today.
Like Rotten Tomatoes, this is either it's binary. It's either one or the other. It's not like on a scale. You can't go, well, I think it's like 50-50, But God, Wicker Man is so good and it's so inventive and just weird. It's not that scary, but it was really fun watching it again. And it just sucks. It sucked me right back in. This is only the second time I've seen it. But it's on Criterion Channel right now. They have a whole collection of 70s horror movies right now, which is right up my alley. So it has like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and these are all like Criterion editions. So like really, top-notch versions. They have Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They have two of my favorites, Don't Look Now and Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Wicker Man. They have one I just watched for the first time called Let's Scare Jessica to Death.
Oh.
Which is a very great title.
Taking notes right now.
It's,
my sister's name is Jessica.
The Hills Have Eyes. God, I can't remember what else, but there's like 20 movies in there. So
nice.
A lot to get through if you're into 70s horror.
Cool. That sounds like a fun time. Yeah, we'll get to talking about that movie and its matchup on next week's episode. I thought it was hilarious that you specifically pointed out how much of an influence that movie had on Midsommar, and then in the comment section, somebody was like, "How come nobody ever says that that Midsommar ripped off the Wicker Man?" I'm like,
You should listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
Or read the copy.
It is really funny. Like there's so much between. I'm sure this Midsummer was not like the first movie to like, pay homage to it or copy it. But between that and The Third Day, which we're watching right now, which is the Jude Law show on HBO, it's like a lot of the same beats even. It's really, especially The Third Day is really, really borrowing heavily from the structure of Wicker Man. But one other thing that I don't want to forget to talk about is it was my good friend Liz Dwinell, also Pop Tournaments enthusiast. It was her birthday last week, and so she had a little backyard get-together on Saturday night, and we went over there, and she bought a new projector, and much like yours, Jenny,
It's
and
so much fun.
we watched Little Shop of Horrors in her
that's a great
backyard. And I haven't seen that in so long, but it was one of those like where within 5 minutes I was like, I still remember all the words to this movie. Like I was pretty much just like quoting it under my breath the entire time, so as to not totally annoy everyone to death. But God, I'm not like the type of person who's like worships Bill Murray by any means. I think that he's really good in some things, he's fine in other things. But his cameo in Little Shop of Horrors is so fucking brilliant. That's the funniest part of the movie. It's just off the wall weird.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would definitely recommend that if you haven't seen it.
Friend of the podcast.
Bill Murray the best cameo actor there is?
Yeah.
I mean, Zombieland, the best part of Zombieland is Bill Murray's cameo.
Absolutely. Yep, without a doubt.
By far. So I think
and I'm sure there's
should
been
do a study.
Yeah. And you know what else? I kind of forgot about this, but like, I mean, maybe the second funniest part in the movie is John Candy's cameo. And then you've got the Steve Martin song, which is like, as a kid, that was like my favorite part. Christopher Guest has a cameo in that movie, which I had no idea. But yeah, there's tons. Jim Belushi, which is just like, it was so obvious at that point in time. People were just like, oh, it sucks that John Belushi's dead. Let's just get Jim Belushi to do it.
Yeah, maybe that'll work. It's the same thing, right? It's almost as good.
Yeah.
If this movie had been made just a few years later, I'm sure Cameo would have showed up.
Yeah. I wish. That would have been a much different movie.
Maybe in a remake.
If the guy, I can't remember his name, Lance Blackman, maybe, if he played the voice of the plant.
There we go.
That would be great.
Much different movie. Jen, how was your weekend?
It was good. It was definitely different than that. My husband and son and I did the State Fair like food drive-through on Saturday, so that was a lot of fun. If anyone's listening that is not from Minnesota and you don't understand what I'm talking about, so the Minnesota State Fair is a big fucking deal in Minnesota every year. Like it's all like it's the small talk like topic for like the 2 weeks before and all through fair time. It's like you just hear about the State Fair constantly. And it obviously wasn't open this year. And so they've been doing weekends where you can drive through and hit a couple of the big food vendors. And you just stay in your car and you kind of drive through the fairgrounds and you pull up and they say, how many, funnel cakes do you want? And you order and pay right there. And then you drive more and you end up with like a lap full of food. And it's pretty amazing.
See, this is kind of unfair because everybody always thought, now everybody goes through this drive-thru and they just bring home tons of all of this different fair food. Mm-hmm. And yet I was always looked at as the crazy person because I would bring Ziploc bags to the fair and bring home tons of fair food. Mm-hmm. And everybody thought I was nuts. And I say bully to that. So,
and we got to reap some of the rewards of your trip. We were originally planning on going on this trip with Jenny and family as well, but circumstances got in the way, so we were not able to attend. But Jenny was so kind as to drop off some Sweet Martha's cookies afterwards, so we're still enjoying those days after.
I hope you are, because it's a big tub. Yep, we're still working on them too.
Yeah. The shelf life of those, it goes from like a 10 out of 10 on deliciousness right when you have them. And then like later that night, it's like an 8. And then the next day, it's like a 6. And then it just kind of keeps going downhill from there.
I feel like it starts at, and I'm not a huge cookie fan, but I do love Sweet Martha's. And I feel like it starts at a 10 for sure. And that lasts for like 2 hours. Like they stay warm for a while. And then it goes to like an 8. And then they get harder, but they're still like super sugary and crumbly and delicious. So
Yeah.
I say they level out at 8. Still better than almost any other
Nice.
cookies.
Wow.
You guys have gone absolutely cookie crazy.
We are. We're cookie monsters.
Yep.
My weekend, thanks for asking.
What did you do, Jake?
I got to spend the weekend with my wonderful and gorgeous girlfriend, Kaylee. We finally both had a weekend off together. So we were, you know what? I maybe a challenge to you two guys. I don't know if you enjoy the Netflix program, The Haunting of Hill House, but a new season came out, The Haunting of Bly Manor. We flew through it, watched the whole thing. Maybe if you guys want to, if you're able to crank through it this week, we can review that on next week's episode.
Absolutely.
Or maybe even
I've watched
just
the
half
first
of it.
episode so far.
Okay.
Watched the first one. Steve fell asleep, but I really
As
enjoyed
he is
it.
one to do.
No, yeah.
So yeah, that's how our weekend started out, and then we got to have a nice little fun trip over to the emergency vet on Saturday.
Oh no!
Because our rascally little Chihuahua wiener dog mix had herself a cocktail.
Oh, no.
Took down about half of a White Russian, and she's only 8.5 pounds. So,
oh geez.
Like, that was really scary. Yeah, within about 10 minutes, she couldn't even stand up. And luckily, and part of the reason I love where I live, I love my community absolutely, but also we're fortunate enough to be literally less than a mile from the emergency vet. The people. I can't even remember. It's just such a blur. I believe it's Southview Emergency or South Metro Emergency Animal Vet, but took awesome care of her. Kept us updated throughout the night. She's perfectly fine now. Has no idea what even happened, but damn, that was scary and unfun. So yeah, to keep your eye out. It's so funny. Our other two dogs couldn't care less about any sort of beverage we set down anywhere, but this one, she'll eat dust if it's available. Anything that's right in front of her, she will take down. So, but yeah, otherwise, outside of that, it was a fun weekend. Like I said, got to hang out with Kaylee, so always fun there. Before we get in, we're in the middle of this horror movie tournament, and I think all of us have been kind of catching up on a lot of our horror movies. As Ryan says, it's spooky season, whatever. I got to thinking, what sort. I know we've divided our bracket up into kind of like 4 categories, but what sort of movies scare you the most, or what parts of scary movies do really get to you? Is it creepy kids? Is it something paranormal, aliens maybe? Jen, what really gets under your skin and scares you?
Well, I avoid movies like with kids in danger. Like, since I had a kid, like, that's just not too much fun unless I know the kids are going to be okay. Like, Haunting of Hill House I liked because I knew they were all going to be adults. So I could watch it. And that one, like, that was like as scary as I can handle with Haunting of Hill House. Like, that was kind of my peak. I liked that. But I'm just really drawn to any horror movies that have really great characters. I think, like, just really, those characters that I'm really rooting for, that they're not just, the stereotype people. Yeah, those characters that are smart and interesting, and I want to know what they'd be like outside of the haunted house or being chased by the serial killer.
So the smart and interesting characters are what scare you the most about scary movies.
Well, that make me care about whether or not they die. So I guess yes, the ones that I care about. So like Ripley and Alien, like, yeah.
Gotcha.
Just someone interesting.
Ryan, what about you? Are you a tension guy / are you afraid of the monsters?
Not particularly.
I'm not.
I mean, there are certainly some that are a lot scarier than others to me, but that's never been the big thing that's like gotten under my skin. I think the thing that I that scares me the most is when movies kind of like weave in real life
yeah,
like scary things. Like with The Descent, for example, how like, you know, just going through those like caves where they're like these people can barely move, and that's like terrifying before there's even anything like, you know, any other tension brought into it. Just that like that thought of like just one little you know, rock could fall and all of a sudden you're gonna die like trapped with this much space to move, you know, like that terrifies the shit out of me. Or like you know, Blair Witch Project, I was actually just talking to a friend about this today. That kind of had the same sort of thing with getting lost in the woods. You know what I mean? That feeling of like, if you've ever like been out camping or on the Boundary Waters or something, and you know that feeling of like, oh fuck, I think I'm lost. And like you start going through your head like, what's going to happen like if I can't find my way back? And it's those kind of things, or you know, bullies or things like that, where it's like real life danger, more so than you know, paranormal danger. Although I'm definitely you know, I will jump at jump scares.
Yeah.
There's a reason they call them jump scares.
Yeah.
No,
I think they're cheap, but you know, they work. So
yeah, and there's a good way and a bad way of doing a jump scare, but like
Totally.
you said, I think yeah, that's the thing. Especially a good ghost movie, you know, late at night, the lights off. If it's done correctly, if it's well thought out, that's definitely going to get anybody. And
the other thing too is like if it earns it, you know, like
yeah.
I love movies where it's like just building tension for a long time, and you know, it's kind of like a slow burn,
Right.
more creepy than like scary, and then you know, you get to that point where it's like there's no sound and like everything's just still, and all of a sudden it's like and like something jumps into the picture and you're like, ah.
Yeah.
That's really scary. But like, yeah, when there's things where it's just like cat jumping and it's like blah, 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 things just like jumping into the screen, it's
Right.
like, okay, you're just doing this
Okay.
to like literally make us flinch, you know?
Right. I think I kind of, I like, and kind of where you went, but almost like a hybrid of that, where you can feel the slow build of tension, and you almost know where something's going, and then they give you a complete left turn, you know, like they snap that tension long before you even expected it. You know, where, you know, maybe somebody, it's an instant death that you didn't see coming, or
Like Get Out.
Yep.
Like the first scene from Get Out.
Yeah. Or it kind of the converse of that. I love when you have that that terror that you can do nothing about, that you kind of have to. I think we've talked about it a little bit. Midsommar, it did a great job of, you kind of know everything that's going on pretty quickly in that movie, or you can kind of read the tea leaves, and it's still really great at building that tension and keeping you on the edge of your seat. So and I think you guys, you know, you nailed it perfectly, Ryan, when you brought up The Descent. I think that's a perfect combination of what you said, Jen, where you actually have characters that you care about combined with that feeling of helplessness. And that's what makes it all the more powerful. That feeling of helplessness, that it puts you right in their shoes, and you're able to do that because you actually give a damn about those characters. Great answers there. I love that. Again, I like being scared, Jen. I understand where you're coming from. There's got to be a couple of lines drawn, but we're almost to Halloween. We're almost halfway.
I don't understand. Speaking, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jake, and pull us back into this, but Jenny talking about like horror movies that are specifically like dealing with kids being in danger. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why there's not more movies about pets being in danger, because I feel like there could be a big market there for like, especially for millennials with, more people being like obsessed with their pets and stuff. Like this could
I think that would be great, because let's get rid of the trope of the animal like always being the first to die, because I hate that. Like we all care, and it's always the dog is always gonna die.
I think
we need to have a final. We need to have a final cat.
Yeah,
we need to have a final cat.
But like we watched The Conjuring 2 weeks ago, and the dog gets out of the car the first 5 minutes, and we're like, God damn it, that dog's gonna die.
Yep. Yeah, that sucks.
Let's protect the animals a little bit more in these horror movies, please, and all movies like dramas. The dog always dies too. So I'm done with that.
Is this like a horror movie that takes place at a zoo, and the animals are dying one by one? They're getting picked off by some.
It's like Night at the Museum, but like at a zoo, and it's just like the zookeeper, and it's like haunted, and he's trying to like save all the animals, but they're just getting picked off, and you come to really love it, all of them, and then you really care about.
Horrible.
Does the killer turn out to be one of the animals themselves?
Mm.
A zebra.
The zoo was built on an Indian burial ground
of animals.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah, that could be a new Halloween classic. Do you guys decorate for Halloween? Do you put up Halloween decorations outside the house?
Not many. I have a wreath with like a skull that I made, and it's got glowing eyes. We put that up, but a couple pumpkins.
Gotcha. Ryan?
We used to a little bit when we owned a house.
Yeah.
Now that we rent a house now, and we haven't really, I don't think, since then. We also, I don't know, I just, I feel like not owning makes us care less about representing our house as being a spot for trick-or-treaters to stop.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, whatever, like, I don't really care if we just like shut the blinds and, just pretend like we're not home.
Mm-hmm.
But this year is going to be really, I think we're going to put out some sort of for people who are out trick-or-treating, mm-hmm. Devise some sort of method where people can safely get candy from in front of our house without having to physically interact with us.
Mm-hmm.
You should just
dig through a bucket of stuff.
Oh no, I was just gonna say you should just put out a tray of shredded pork.
That would be awesome. As a parent, I would be excited. Tongs. Okay, well, I want the tongs. I'll just bring my own. It's fine. I'll bring my own tongs and a bun. That would be great to have something like warm and to eat.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, that's funny.
What? I apologize, guys. So my uncle Johnny is staying for the week, and he wants to come in and talk about Halloween decorations.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, just step up. No, but keep your distance. Okay. Yeah. So you decorate for Halloween, Johnny? Yeah. I come down here. I'm staying in the cities. I really like putting up decorations for all the kids. I like hanging the spooky ghosts on a string in the windows. I usually do a scarecrow with the clothes my ex-wife left behind, and that's scary enough itself because they kind of look better on the scarecrow. You know what I'm saying? And it's not hard to decorate when you already got a hearse up on cinder blocks in the front yard. It's full of spiders and spider webs. The kids love that. All right, that's enough. Thanks, Johnny. Sorry Sorry.
It was good to meet you, Jenny.
Yeah, thanks a lot, stupid Uncle Johnny.
I'm not really sure what town he's from, but it's not around here. So
Yeah.
Outside of the metro area.
Definitely outside of the metro. Hopefully he's
not sure which direction, but
hopefully he's not going to be hanging out too much longer. We'll never hear from him again, hopefully. So let's get into some matchups. We are halfway through the first round, and so far there's been some interesting developments in this tournament. Some obvious wins and some very interesting ones. But so right off the bat, our very first day, we had The Exorcist over Paranormal Activity. That was 132-17. Kind of
as a drubbing.
Really didn't stand a chance. And
yeah, it was one of those that, like, I remember my wife Rebecca was
damn it, I missed it.
Sorry. She was kind of an advocate for Paranormal Activity, and because she thinks, as is true, that it's a very important horror movie in this millennium, and it really changed the future of horror movies and whatever. So she was excited that it made the tournament, and then she saw that it was up against The Exorcist, and she was like, "Oh, awesome!" Like,
yeah,
like it really did not stand a chance.
I honestly, I think a lot of people are picking The Exorcist to win this whole thing, so it has to be taken with a grain of salt. And I think she was 100% correct that it deserves to be here. It's definitely part of the horror film lexicon that can't be ignored. So,
and really, it's an honor just to be nominated.
Maybe Paranormal Activity will be our Susan Lucci.
It'll be in all the pop tournaments from here on out.
Yep. And always lose in the first round.
Yeah.
So The Exorcist is going to be going up against Carrie with a 1-vote win over Poltergeist.
That was close.
Very.
So Mr. Hooper's name is going to come up a lot in this tournament, but I do want to point out, we kind of talked about on previous episodes, I looked into it, and everybody says that Spielberg was actually directing this movie, and Hooper was just there. So what it was is he was E.T. was actually still in development, and he was under contract. He was not allowed to direct any other movies, so that's why he was signed on as producer and screenwriter for Poltergeist.
Okay.
And I think the truth lies probably somewhere in between, because I heard otherwise, and kind of what I heard was like, I also heard that originally Steven Spielberg was going to make this. I heard that he wanted to make like a horror movie that was kind of a follow-up to Jaws, but he was under contract, so he couldn't do it. So he handpicked Tobe Hooper to direct it, but
because he knew he would listen.
Sure, but that being said, I think that he did let him direct, and Tobe Hooper's fingerprints are all over the movie, according to film people, like horror film people say, like, oh, this is definitely as much of a Tobe Hooper movie as it is a Steven Spielberg movie. And I think it's different parts. You know what I mean? I think the beginning definitely feels a lot like a Steven Spielberg movie. And once you get closer to the end, it feels a lot more like a, Tobe Hooper movie. But it's, like I said, I think the truth lies somewhere probably in the middle, that it was definitely a team effort.
Friends of our friends at VH1, and that would be their friends at Vanity Fair, would beg to differ. So we will search through that in between area as we roll on through the tournament, right? But it did lose to, so enough about Poltergeist, the loser.
Right, that it's not in the game anymore. I was surprised at how strong of a showing it had. I feel like Poltergeist just hasn't aged particularly well as so many of these other movies. So yeah, I was shocked that it was just one point where Carrie is still like so iconic and memorable, and yeah, that's so way to go, Poltergeist. You did a lot better than I thought you would.
I will say, go ahead.
I think this is Eric H, who's film expert, said, somebody said like, oh, I can't believe it was only one vote or something like that. And he said like, as it should be, or something like that. And I think that was a perfect response. Like, I think this was maybe the closest like matchup, or the best first round matchup. Of this is the Hank Hill versus Bob Belcher of the first round, where it was just like, it all comes down to personal preference. I don't think one of these movies is better than the other or more important than the other. It just kind of depends on which one you prefer.
I think it would have been fun though, just with so much background noise being associated with The Exorcist and Poltergeist. We again have alluded to on previous episodes, and I don't want to do a disservice here of not mentioning it. There is just so much in the idea of curses associated with Poltergeist. A lot of people don't know that the teenage daughter in the first movie was murdered by a jealous boyfriend in her driveway months after the movie was released. I mean, the horrible disease that the little girl had to go through, and tragically she died young. The medium, or whoever, the old lady in the movie, that again, just so much associated with this movie, and again, much in the same way as The Exorcist. But
Craig T. Nelson, he had to be on Coach for all those years.
We were forced to watch Coach.
We're all cursed.
But yeah, that'll be a fun matchup. Carrie versus The Exorcist.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think we all kind of know which direction that'll go, but who knows?
Dude, I'm kind of hoping for Carrie.
Me too. I mean, I don't know where I'm gonna vote yet for sure, but I know kind of where my heart is right now.
Yeah.
It got me thinking, because we always make fun of if that we're going to do attack ads for the ones we don't want to win. How would you do an attack ad for a scary movie? The attack ad already sounds like an advertisement for the scary movie.
That's true. Maybe it would be like a pro ad, like The Exorcist cares about your mom's health.
Or I love
or whatever.
I love the ones that like they start out negative and they switch positive to the candidate they're for. Like how would that go? Like, Jason's going to hunt you down while you're camping. Freddy Krueger, on the other hand, wants to provide easy access for your blood to flow out of your body.
Yep. Some cheerful music in the background. There's an American flag. Yep.
That sounds about right. So jumping down to our monsters quadrant, we had Jaws, the shark, beating Quiet Place. What was funny, looking up some facts, Krasinski claims he was inspired by Jaws for A Quiet Place. So, but he also listed off literally every other horror movie that's ever existed as his inspiration. So, nice try, John. Nice try. Jaws winning 103-32. I think that's about right.
Yeah, it feels right.
I'll be curious on this next round too. Well, I mean, I don't know. Do you guys have any more to add about Jaws?
About the next round, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is the Spielberg movie. He didn't share any credit with this one. There's no producers or extra directors who are controversially involved. It's pretty much just a Spielberg movie. But yeah, I mean, this movie's perfect.
Yeah.
10 out of 10?
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
All right.
It is.
Well, it's going to be facing off against The Thing, which defeated Dawn of the Dead 73-65. And again,
great matchup.
Yeah, that was a nice matchup. Zombies can't play defense though, so again, we have a Hooper attached movie. He was considered before John Carpenter for the director's chair, but they just didn't like the tone and direction he was taking it. So, but yeah, The Thing, not well received when it was initially released. I recently rewatched it. I thought it was great. Super fun.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in so long. I think we're gonna watch it this weekend. My parents are going to be visiting, nice. So it's got oh my gosh, what's his face? And Kurt Russell. Yes. It's got Kurt Russell, so it'll be an easy sell for my mom. So,
is your mom there? Does she want to give us her opinion on Kurt Russell? Is she there early? Oh,
no.
Thought I saw her in the background.
Nope.
Also has an iconic performance from Keith David, who I just love so much. He's perfect in this movie. Yeah, I think it's he's one of like that guy like actors who you know, if you know him, you know him. But a lot of people, it's just like you're like, Keith David, I've never heard of him, and then you look him up and you're like, oh yeah, the guy who was yeah.
Oh, he's the bassist for Little Big Town.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's just his name sounds like he should be in a country band.
Yeah, he kind of does.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Keith David. Thank you for such a wonderful evening.
Speaking of which, I said Lance Blackman for some reason earlier when we were talking about cameo. It's Larry Blackman.
Okay.
I'm embarrassed I got that wrong, so I had to correct myself. But Keith David, The Thing, the one thing that I could say about this matchup is The Thing is fully like a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's one of the great 80s horror movies, where Jaws kind of leaves a little room as to like, is this an adventure movie, a drama, a horror movie? So, depending on how people take it, it could be closer than expected.
Much like the worm on the end of a hook when you're fishing, it's got some wiggle room. So
we talking Rodman again?
Not that worm. Never put Rodman. You can never hang Rodman on the hook. So jumping over, that's going to be a fun matchup, though. I totally agree. It could go a lot of different directions. First, we had The Shining beating Hereditary 123-24. I honestly expected this to be closer. I thought, and I don't think it's necessarily that there's any disrespect to Hereditary. I just thought it kind of would have gotten a little more. It's had a lot of love these last few years, but The Shining holding up after 40 years.
Yep. And like I was saying before, it's like a binary choice. You can't go, oh, I really love both movies. So I'm going to give it 75% to Shining and 20, you know what I mean? Because I think this vote would have been split a lot more if you could do things like that. But
well, technically in the pop tournaments world, you can.
You can.
I know, but
and I do sometimes.
But the thing is, even me who loves Hereditary, I couldn't bring myself to put one vote against Shining.
Really? Interesting.
No, I mean, Shining's like classic. It's Stanley Kubrick. I'm not going to vote against Stanley Kubrick on a movie that's like, less than 5 years old. And, it's great. I love it. But, I don't know. It's hard to vote against something that iconic.
I mean, when you think of The Shining, what part are you thinking of? Because there's so many like super iconic moments.
Honestly, weirdly, I think of the carpet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that weird? Yep. I think of the carpet. I think of the God, I'm drawing a blank on the character's name. The boy riding his big wheel, that single
that's
shot.
What I think of that, yeah. But yeah, do you think of Red Rum? Do you think of the elevator full of blood? Do you think of the two little twin girls? Do you think of the ghosts in the bar? Do you think of the axe going through the door and here's Johnny? Like,
I definitely think of like the middle portion most, I think. Pre axe through the door, pre like crazy off tilt ending.
Yeah.
But post like shit starting to go wrong, you know. That the section with the twins and
but like Carrie, you think of the prom dress and her covered in blood. You know, like Jaws, you think of the shark coming out of the water at the boat. But The Shining, it's just all like iconic. So there's so many incredible, memorable scenes.
I don't disagree with you. I think Carrie is like, you know, anybody, you would be foolish to say like, oh, the iconic shot from Carrie is anything but that. But to me, when I think of Carrie, I think of the shower scene, which is like
in the locker room. That one, or
in the locker room. Yep. Yeah, in the locker room.
That's the heartbreaking scene. Yeah,
big time.
Because that's the one we all remember, like feeling that way. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway,
cannot relate.
No, we're back to Carrie. So
yeah, sorry.
Speaking of Carrie, it beat Poltergeist, so let's talk about that some more. So The Shining is going to be taking on The Descent after The Descent beat Audition 68-16. This was our lowest vote-getting matchup, and that's okay. I think this is, you know, definitely probably two of our lesser seen or lesser familiar with movies, but this gives everybody a golden opportunity to catch up and check out The Descent. I think it's available right now on a couple of different
I'm sure you can find it someplace. You might have to pay for it. I don't think I've seen it free.
Yeah, I can't remember. I looked it up recently. I can't remember where it's available.
Yeah, but it is a fantastic, fantastic movie. And I unfortunately have never seen Audition, and that's pay, you know, only it's streaming, but you have to pay for it right now. And I'm going to keep looking it up, and as soon as it's available, I will be watching that. But yeah, we talked about The Descent a little bit earlier. I think it's a great scare. I think it should give The Shining a good run for its money.
I just want to say, if you follow my advice and get that free week of Shudder, Audition is on Shudder.
Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just trying to time it out right.
Yeah, you just got to get like
you got to pick the perfect week.
Yep, you got to get Cursed Films where they talk about Poltergeist, The Exorcist, and Twilight Zone the movie, which is the best episode.
Oh, I love
Cut of the Dead, Host, and Audition.
There we go.
That's like, it's a nice little lineup.
That sounds like a really lovely afternoon.
Yeah.
All right, and then jumping up into our slashers quadrant first, just barely staying alive, like Michael Myers does. We had Halloween beating The Cabin in the Woods, 67-62.
That one surprised me.
Really?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
I think
not in a bad way. Like, I love Cabin in the Woods. I didn't think so many other people had seen and loved Cabin in the Woods. I remember when Steve and I saw it, like when it had just come out, and I felt like it didn't have much buzz. It was kind of one of those that only like hipster movie fans had really heard of, and so I think it really built, and I'm so glad to hear that it's a really popular one now. And granted, most of the people voting in our wonderful group are a lot of hipster movie fans. But yeah, I wasn't expecting it to take on the titan that is Halloween.
Yeah.
If you were to tell me that one of the movies movies that was in this top grouping was going to be in danger of losing, I probably would have guessed it would have been The Shining, maybe. Or maybe Jaws. I don't know. Like, Halloween wouldn't have been my first guess. I kind of thought that was like a slam dunk.
I was my pick for it to like win the whole thing. And then I was like, yikes. Like, go out in the first round.
I get you. I rewatched it recently, and I completely understand why it was so scary for its time.
Yeah.
But that I think, at least from a scare factor, it loses a little bit of its luster.
Do you remember that show Scare Factor with Joe Rogan?
Fear Factor.
Oh, I'm just kidding. I knew that. I was just joking.
Conservative hack Joe Rogan? That one?
Yeah, no, I sorry that I just took everything off the rails for a joke that didn't
Swing
land.
and a miss. Took it all off the rails for a freaking Joe Rogan joke.
Yeah, I know.
Don't say rails and Joe Rogan in the same sentence. He'll show up at your house very excited. And then seem to be very disappointed. And then you'll have to call the cops to get him off your lawn. Yeah. Good for you, Joe Rogan. So Halloween is going to be taking on Scream, which beat Saw 123-38.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not... So, before we get into the matchup, this kind of made me want to think, wow, Ryan is Macaulay Culkin, and you're not frozen.
I'm the painting.
pulling a Culkin.
Yep.
I wonder what came first there, Macaulay or the painting?
So real quick, do you think, so these are both iconic series, do you think, two-part question, I apologize, is Scream 1 the best Scream, and is Saw 1 the best Saw?
I don't know.
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes?
And I've only seen Saw 1 through 6. I'm just kidding. I've only seen Saw 1 and 2. And I maybe have seen like one of the other ones randomly, like over at a friend's house when I was in my mid-20s, like, But I definitely think from everything I've seen post Saw 1, they kind of took what made the first one so great and kind of left that idea behind, which was, kind of leaving it like, all right, the whole movie takes place in one room essentially, and it's just like super minimal, low budget style, and they kind of just they fleshed it out after that, and it was like, oh, this is how we would have made it if we would have had endless money, and it's like, okay, well, now it lost all the charm.
Yeah. And the problem with Scream, the future Screams, is that they went with exactly the same formula as the first movie. They're like, oh, we're going to keep making lots of like pop culture references while we kill all these beautiful people. And we're all like, yeah, no, but that's not new now. Like, we saw that. What are you going to do now?
Right. I will say for both
Sequels
of these,
are hard.
I definitely appreciate the second installments in both of them. I thought, again, it ended up being beat into the ground with Scream, but the way they took the second one at least had some funness to it, where it took on a little bit more of a, it was definitely meta in the first one, and then they're like, oh, we actually found a way to make this a little more meta in the second one. So that was kind of fun.
The one thing that really kind of blew my mind that I forgot about is when I was posting the Instagram for this matchup, I looked up Scream poster 1997, because I always try to find like the original poster from the year it was released, and it brought up the poster for Scream 2, and I was like, no, Scream 1,
which was, I can explain.
Scream 1 came out in 96. Scream 2 came out in 97.
Oh my God.
Isn't that fucking insane? Yeah.
I have a feeling Scream 1 was kind of sitting on the shelves for a little while. Not nearly the amount of time, say, Cabin in the Woods was sitting on the shelves and then got released. And thank God that Hemsworth became the star he was.
Otherwise, I think that every day.
We might not. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
Every day when I kneel down for my daily prayers,
I thank God for Chris Hemsworth.
No, but I think, again, there's an example. We might not have gotten that movie if not for him becoming as big as he did, because it was,
Absolutely.
that was released after, even though it was made before. And I think we had a little bit of that with Scream. And so, yeah, it was released right at the end of December 1996. And when I looked up that date, I suddenly remembered, oh my gosh, me and my cousin went to see this literally like 2 days before Christmas.
Awesome.
It was...
I don't remember. It's weird because I remember certain events like that.
Yep.
I remember going to see Jackie Brown on Christmas Day when it came out, because that was like a Christmas Day release. And I remember, like, I was such a huge fan of like Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs that me and my friend Chris on Christmas Day, which, you know, I'm a nut about Christmas. I love Christmas. My family's really into it. But we were like, all right, peace, guys. We're going to go watch this 2.5 hour Quentin Tarantino movie. And we were like, you know, 16 years old or something, and went to the Mall of America and saw Jackie Brown on the opening day.
Ah, neat.
It is very neat. Quentin Tarantino is a very cool director, and
that's
nobody can
like
say
my
anything
second
bad
favorite Tarantino movie. I love Jackie Brown.
It is definitely, and I mean, I was being facetious, but that is definitely, I think through, you know, the changes in era, I think Jackie Brown is definitely the one that stood the test of time the most.
You're checking so many boxes here for me. So, little sidebar. Let's take a little sidebar. We got a few extra minutes. I personally love going to see movies on Christmas Day. It for a long time was kind of a tradition for me and my sister. Once she had moved to Indiana, so she'd come home for Christmas. It was kind of our thing. After everything was over, we'd go find a movie to go see. And Tarantino tie-in. Ooh, there we go. Tarantino tie-ins. Let's see if we can get a few more of those.
New bit.
So our first Tarantino tie-in. I always find it funny that 2 years in a row on Christmas Day, my sister and I went to see movies about Nazis. That would be 2008's Valkyrie and 2009's, do you know, Ryan?
Inglourious Basterds.
Inglourious Basterds. That's our Tarantino tie-in.
Can I tell you something crazy?
Okay.
Another one of my most like memorable movie-going experiences is I went to go see Inglourious Basterds with my dad the night before I got married, because Becky was like getting ready, you know, to do her, you know, she was like
stuff.
waking up early in the morning to do all her like hair and makeup and everything with all of her team of, you know, wedding people. And I stayed over at my parents' house. And so we went to go see Inglourious Basterds.
Fun.
So I don't know, first, like anytime I think about Inglourious Basterds, it makes me think of like my wedding, which is strange.
So I think about Jimmy Buffett when I think of Inglourious Basterds, because we actually went to go see it. My parents flew into town, and then we drove to Alpine Valley for the Jimmy Buffett concert, because he performs at Alpine Valley like almost every summer, like every year. And so we went and we saw Inglourious Basterds like the night before the concert, and then the concert, it was raining the whole time and it was terrible. But Inglourious Basterds is a fantastic movie, and I still love that.
Me too.
Are your parents parrot heads?
Yeah, like, I'm not huge. I'm the one who's actually been to like 5 Jimmy Buffett concerts at this point.
Oh man,
they've only been to the one and they had a bad experience.
Oh,
they ate bad acid.
But I love Jimmy Buffett because my dad loves Jimmy Buffett.
Is your mom back there in the background? Does she want to give us a review?
No, we're not doing this.
No, it's Kaylee, my lovely, gorgeous, wonderful girlfriend Kaylee is a huge Jimmy Buffett fan also. So
Oh, yeah?
No kidding, I didn't know that.
Yeah, loves her.
That's awesome.
Loves her Buffett. So, back to Scream versus Saw. We had Scream winning. It'll be going up against Halloween. again, I think this is shaping up to be a really, really close matchup between those two. Should be interesting.
Yeah. I have a feeling Scream's going to win, and I don't think I'm really going out on a limb.
No.
Scream crushed Saw, and Halloween barely made it through against Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
We can just keep rolling if you're okay with that, Jen.
I am. Yeah, I'm trying to get back on. Sorry.
Cool. No problem.
Well,
Wi-Fi.
And I understand. So, for those of you who don't know, we record also on Zoom just so we can see each other. And I'm looking really, really ugly today, so Jen keeps popping out because it's going to make her sick.
Yep, I just have to keep leaving. Yep.
But we're all still here. We're here to talk to you guys. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Ryan.
No problem. Yeah, I think Scream kind of has the upper hand right now.
It does. It looks like it might take this category.
If I was Vegas right now, I'd probably I'd say Scream would be favored. They'd probably be like plus 125.
What if you were Vega from Street Fighter?
If I was Vega, I'd probably fight some Street Fighters. I don't know. He's a bad guy, right?
Yeah, he's just one of the characters you can fight as.
Oh, is he? Okay. I mean,
is Scorpion really a bad guy in Mortal Kombat?
No.
Is Sub-Zero?
No.
Is Goro?
Yes.
Yeah, so...
that sounded like a pop quiz. Mortal Kombat pop quiz.
Yeah, we might have to start doing some pop quizzes for everybody. Yeah, we've got... a few more matchups going in the first round, and then it's all going to kind of happen real fast. And
yeah,
I'm really excited.
It always seems like the first round takes forever, and then it's like, boom, we're just flying.
Yep.
Make sure you're catching up on these movies. Get ready to vote because it all matters and it all counts. Mm-hmm. We want to see what ends up being the ultimate champion. Any last words from you guys?
I don't think so.
Stay spooky.
I mean, last words.
Stay spooky.
There's ghosts behind both of you ready to kill you, so I mean last words.
Yeah, mine's a shadow with glowing eyes.
And your mom's back there.
Mine is... Hey, do you want to say hi?
Come say hi. All right.
My ghost is just a giant pumpkin, like a giant jack-o'-lantern. I don't really know why that's supposed to be scary.
Is it the guy that wished for a giant orange head?
Yeah. Classic Ryan Joe.
Classic.
Gets me every time.
All right. Well,
yeah, I'm excited for another great week of pop tournaments.
Yeah.
Keep on voting, keep on popping.
Spooky.
This isn't